Hope you can clearly hear my voice, right? Okay. So hello everyone and welcome to our today's webinar session. So today's webinar will be talking about challenges, coping strategies, and support during pandemic as postgraduate and academician. So at first, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Dr. Cik Azurahanim Cik Abdullah, or you can call me Dr. Chacha. So I'm the head of Material Synthesis and Characterization Lab, Institute of Advanced Technology. So as our director is not with us today, so on director's behalf and ITMA, we would like to thank you to all participants who are joining us today. So on behalf of ITMA, we thank you to our speaker as well, Dr. Chai and Adam, for accepting our invitation to be the speaker for today's webinar. And I would like to thank GSTEC and SSC for your support for this event. And I also would like to say thank you for those joining us from other universities. So I know today is not only for UPM student and staff, we also open to other universities in Malaysia, and I think we also have a few participants from overseas. So thank you for all of you. Okay, so without further delay, now I would like to start our program. So our first speaker will be Dr. Tubi Lai Hong Wei, or I just call him Adam. So Adam is currently a final year PhD student under the Max Scholarship in Tokyo Institute of Technology. So currently, Adam also head coordinator and one of the Sakura mentors of Sakura Science Club. Basically, Adam graduated from University Science Malaysia with a microbiology background, and he is currently working on canceling light irradiation, also known as photodynamic therapy, PDT. So without further delay, Adam, the floor is yours. So I hope that your sharing will ignite postgraduate in Malaysia, and for those who joining from other universities overseas, I hope that the sharing from Adam will help you to motivate you throughout this pandemic. Okay, so Adam, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Dr. Azurahanim. So I'll share my screen. Hold on. All right, can everyone see it? Okay, so thank you for the kind introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lai Hong Wei, but you can call me Adam. This is my 5th year in Japan. First and foremost, I would like to again express my gratitude to Dr. Azurahanim for providing me this opportunity to share my 2 cents on my research experience as a postgraduate student in Japan. So please bear with me for the next 30 minutes. So my full name is Lai Hong Wei, but and you can call me Adam. I was born and raised in Aitam, Penang. I enjoy eating, hang out with friends,
Recording in progress,
and writing. I'm currently a final year PhD student in Tokyo Institute of Technology, also known as Tokyo Tech in short, and the head coordinator, and also one of the Sakura mentors in Sakura Science Club, Japan. As a mentor, I write monthly columns and answer inquiries of members regarding life in Japan. So SSC solidified my resolve and has provided me a platform to study abroad in Japan. Moving on to my journey, I was a STPM student and I entered USM in 2011 to study biology during my bachelor's, and I also did research on tuberculosis, TB, for my master's. I then came to Japan and took my second master's and now currently my PhD in Tokyo Tech. I'll be graduating this September and will start my new job, thankfully, as an assistant professor in Kochi University in October. So I would like to introduce a little about my research. My research focuses on this amino acid known as the aminolevulinic acid, ALA. So ALA is a non-toxic essential amino acid naturally found in the human body. It is also an important component in the porphyrin heme synthesis pathway. ALA can be uptaken by the cells and undergoes a series of chain reactions before accumulate selectively as protoporphyrin 9, PP9, in cancer cells. These PP9 will then emit red fluorescence and triggers phototoxicity to the cell. This interesting phenomenon is currently being utilized by scientists and medical doctors in studies of photodynamic therapy, PDT, photodynamic diagnosis, PDD, and photodynamic screening, PDS. You may scan this QR code over here to learn more about my research. So, how did I end up in Japan? I was motivated by two USM seniors who took their PhD in Japanese university. One of them is now a tenure-track academician in Japan, and the other is now working with the World Health Organization, WHO. So they inspired me and told me the importance of studying abroad is to learn how researchers from other countries, in particularly Japan, think about research, and prompt me to integrate and imitate their research mentality as one of my own. Therefore, I decided to try it out first by joining a short program known as Japan Medical Innovation Tour, which is organized by Sakura Science and Kyushu University. It took me about 4 months to prepare the required documents and interviews before I got accepted. This 1-week program had allowed me to visit over 10 research institutes and pharmaceutical companies all around Japan. For example, Nippon Shinyaku, Kyushu University, PMDA, Tsumura, and also include some other companies like Hisamitsu. And I learned how these companies carry out drug researches and development, and also how they are regulated legally. I was particularly impressed by the cutting-edge technology, the skill of researchers, and passion of Japanese researchers. This had then opened my eyes and solidified my resolve to pursue a PhD in Japan. So what inspired me most to go back to Japan? It is their passion for research. Putting aside their possession of the world-leading cutting-edge technology, I'm especially exceptionally in awe with the Japanese mentality and love towards research. They got excited and hyped up whenever you talk about research, so much so that you could actually see twinkle in their eyes. They possess high eagerness to carry out various experiments consistently in order to cure their thirst for knowledge. I strongly believe this is why we see so many quality products over the years from Japan in our daily lives. So back to my journey. Once I got back to Malaysia, I immediately start seeking ways to do research on interested topics in Japan. This is when I came across my current PI's webpage and was later informed that he's coming to USM for a seminar 2 months later. I did some basic study and read his papers before approaching him at the end of the seminar. I was actually quite surprised that he immediately asked me for an informal interview. So I joined it and told him exactly what I intend to do if I had the opportunity to be in his lab. He seemed rather satisfied and told me to proceed with the official application procedures, and 1 year later I received an offer letter from the university. The main message that I'm telling you this is I would like to bring out an important point. Plan early and always be prepared. Equip yourself with the skills you needed. Opportunities are always available everywhere, but it is up to you to grab it. Speaking from personal experience as a postgraduate student, I think there's 4 main strengths of Japanese research. First and foremost, the academicians, researchers, and even graduate students in Japan are highly independent. Spoon-feed culture is being despised here. The job of a PI is to guide students, but not spoon-feeding them. PI here encourage the students to find their own research topic that they are interested in. In my laboratory, new students spend the first 2 to 3 months reading papers, discussing with seniors and PIs about potential titles consistently. We have a weekly progress meeting where everyone sit down and did brainstorming on various research problems. This persistent and consistent effort shapes students into independent researchers, in my opinion. The second point is Japanese-style interest-oriented researchers. Students do not focus on easy-to-achieve targets, for example, quick or so-called on-time graduation, but instead choose topics that they love. With guidance from PI and help from fellow seniors, students are highly motivated to carry out research and read appropriate journals and papers voluntarily because they want to, not because they need to. It is also important to note that Japanese universities have all-rounded education system. In Tokyo Tech, students need to choose to pursue academic or industry-oriented PhD courses. These courses will train students to meet market demands of academia and industry. This includes training such as academic writing and interview preparations workshops for their future lives. For example, the industry focuses on the ability of individual to meet the demands of company and market aims, while academia focuses on the ability of shaping highly independent researchers. The fourth point is something that I'm particularly all in awe about. Student support divisions in Japan are monsters. They can literally do anything and provide all kinds of information for you, including the list of companies based on your field, the percentage of international students intake on each company, and they could even prepare you for document submission and job interviews. For those that do not know, Japanese job hunting usually starts 1 year before graduation, and one need to join many job seminars, submit many documents, and prepare at least 2 to 3 rounds of interview section per company. They are extremely tough and stressful. And of course, counseling is an important thing in Japan, and people look highly upon it. Most students have experience consulting them during their study life, such as problem faced in laboratories and future concerns regarding their career, and so on and so forth. Moving on to a lighter tone, my normal day as a postgraduate student in Japan. So every day, including today, I woke up at 7:30 and immediately went for a jog around the neighborhood. I then come back and prepare myself for school, make breakfast, and prepare my lunchbox. I then depart at 9 a.m. and arrive 45 minutes later. My lab has this thing we call qua timer, which basically means like working hours. So it usually starts at 10. So when I arrive in my lab at about 9:45, I usually read news online. Then, only then, I would join the weekly progress meeting, which lasts for about 90 minutes. And usually it doesn't end immediately after that. Our lab members usually have further discussion together, or if none, I would just read journals all by myself. I will then have a short lunch break, usually about 30 minutes, and spend the whole evening doing experiments. In our lab, we have a very loose regulation about which experiments we want to do. We basically do whatever we think is relevant, as long as it fits our research title and objective of our own research. My supervisor once told me that this is a good way to produce independent young researchers. So at about 7, I leave the lab and buy groceries home to cook dinner and take a rest. I will leave much later if I still have other experiments I need to do. Sometimes I also join my lab mates for dinners or karaoke. And I'm sure you have realized from the picture, these are French onion soup, roti canai, Chinese fried rice, and nasi lemak. And yes, I cook them myself. Living in Japan has provided me with ample opportunity to become a chef, because eating outside is really expensive here. A simple bowl of ramen would easily cost you about 800 yen, which is more than 30 ringgit per bowl. Therefore, it's not really sustainable to eat outside. All right, moving on to the problems I faced in Japan. The first problem I had would be Japanese language and its culture. As a highly homogeneous country, most Japanese speak only their mother tongue. However, it is safe to know that most Japanese PIs are able to carry out conversations in English. But however, this is not the case for all students. Therefore, some laboratories might have had this awkward situation where some Japanese students would present in Japanese while international students in English during meetings. This can be rather counterproductive, as students might not understand each other properly. However, I think it is important, in my case, to take the initiative to memorize some scientific Japanese terminologies every day before bed. After a few months, I managed to understand and get a grasp and discuss researches in Japanese. Japanese is also quite different culturally from us. They do not voice out their opinion directly and tend to be quite vague with sometimes when they say something. This happened to me once when I remember proposing some ideas to my PI several times, and he always replied me like, "Good job, let's think about it again." However, I didn't know this until I talked to my seniors after a few weeks that it is a way for Japanese to reject you politely without wanting to hurt your feelings. So thankfully, with the help of my senior, I learned to read between lines, and thankfully, I'm much better at it now. Second problem I had was research field. I came from a microbiology background, studying on bacteria, working on tuberculosis. And my research in Japan is on cancer in humans. So there's actually a pretty large gap between these two fields. Regarding this, the only thing I could suggest is read, and read. Read reviews for basic understanding, and then move on to journal papers for specific information. For every paper you read, think and understand the logic behind them. What is the motive? Why this methodology? What is the benefit of this research? And what is the novelty or the future of this research 10 years or 20 years later? And if you can't figure it out, always talk it out and ask your seniors or even discuss with your PI. I believe we currently live in an age where science and technology could only grow significantly by working together with other people. Third problem, studying abroad means entering a new environment with no network. Therefore, we need to build our own network, even better if it includes individuals within our fields. As a researcher, the standard way would be joining conferences and present your research findings. Make some business cards and give it out to other professionals. By this, you may find potential collaborators or new ideas which may benefit you in the short or in the long run. Another way is by joining Graduates Cafe, whereby graduate students and professors from various fields would gather regularly in the lobby and socialize freely. Personally, I think this is highly efficient as we get to know people around us and current trends in various fields. The fourth problem is depression and loneliness. I had a relatively bad depression at one time due to homesickness. Although friends might help to a certain degree, there is no actual effective way to cure this except fortifying your own mental strength. The only advice I could give is we have to emulate unreal expectations and think logically as scientists. Living abroad has definitely pushed me to grow to a better and stronger person. I feel much more confident and independent now, living wise and research wise. As we all know, the pandemic is still ravaging globally without a clear sign of recovery. Research progresses have also been hindered significantly due to reduced working hours. In my department, we first encountered a total lockdown followed by a strict 50% working hour rule. Honestly speaking, I did not actually have many results for the entire year 2020. However, instead of doing nothing, I moved on to spend most time at home writing papers. With the help of my PI, I managed to publish a research paper at the end of year 2020, followed by another paper in the early 2021. These achievements also led to me landing a job in my future university. Japan has switched many of its work into online system fairly quickly last year. However, the lacking of eye contact with the speakers often result in poor concentration of listeners, including me myself. Self-discipline is important to push you forward during hard times like this. I could always take enough sleep before joining and shut off my phone during webinars so that I could pay 100% attention. The last but perhaps the toughest problem, job hunting. Job hunting has proved to be much more harder and stressful. Information are scarce and incomplete due to most companies and universities still couldn't adapt effectively to the new norm. Financial difficulties by various companies and universities also resulted in significant reduction in fresh grad intake. Paperwork became heavier and student support division are forced to work within limited hours, limiting the effectiveness of counseling. Online interviews have proven to be much more difficult as it is relatively hard to promote yourself effectively. One of the biggest lessons I learned during the job hunting season is to focus your eyesight on the camera while you're speaking to simulate real-time conversation. I didn't notice it until one of the recruiters commented on this. And trust me, it actually takes some training and some practice to let it work. As a Sakura mentor, I often answer inquiries about how to maintain momentum and motivation for studying in Japan. I think there are 4 important aspects. The first one is to seek moral support from family and friends. I'm glad to have a group of friends in both Japan and Malaysia that I could turn to whenever I feel depressed. And of course, your most important people of your life, your own family. My family are the first group of people that gave me confidence and courage to pursue my dream unconditionally and consistently. Second method is to join clubs, associations, or co-curricular activities. I'm glad to have my lab mates, my friends from Sakura Science Club, and Sakura Science Club and Jagam, which is the director is here today, Gary Tang, Japan Graduate Associate Malaysia. Your lab mates will understand your immediate problems faced in the labs and offer you some pretty solid advice. On the other hand, Jagam and SSC gave me a chance to communicate with international students and individuals from Malaysia and other countries. This provides me with the necessary motivation to continue moving forward. The third one is beliefs and hobbies. Having faith in your belief is extremely important. I believe it provides me with unimaginable strength to continue fighting on. On the other hand, having a hobby and do things that you like is a great way to escape from the harsh reality of work life, especially in a foreign country. For me, traveling around with friends and eating good food are the best medicine whenever I got tired and need a break. Lastly, but perhaps the most important one, your life objectives. For me, it's all about giving my wife a good life she deserves. And yes, I just got married last month. And the second most important objective of my life is publish more papers. And hopefully I can get a tenured job someday in the future, even better, if I have the opportunity to serve our country in the future. I strongly believe with a solid and concrete aim, together with the remaining three factors, could give you a solid reason to fight continuously, maintaining momentum and motivation on the academia journey. Thank you very much for listening, and feel free to check out these websites for more information via the QR codes below. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Adam, for your sharing session. So I think I would like to congratulate you for two things, because you get the position at Kochi University, as well as for your because I don't know that last month you just getting married. So okay, Adam, before we proceed to our next session, I have few questions for you from the chat box. Okay, Adam, how did you cope with using equipment or procedures you have never used during your research in cancer in Japan?
I see. First, thank you for the wishes, for the kind wishes, and for the question. Yeah, how do I cope with that? First and foremost, I would like to say, in science, as a scientist, when you face problem or you are looking for new procedures, the first thing you need to do is to read from papers, start some basic study, basic principle, understand the fundamentals behind it, and only then move on to ask and consult other people if you don't understand. For me, when I come here, pretty much almost everything I don't understand. Like I have never used HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography equipment. I've never done that before. I've never did real-time PCR. But I think what you need to do important is read. If you don't understand, ask someone. Like, I think it's also quite rude to ask for someone's help if you yourself didn't actually take the first step to try to understand at least the principle behind it.
Okay, thank you, Adam, for your answer. So I hope, Emmanuel, you are satisfied with the answer from Adam. So
yes.
Okay, thanks
very much.
No problem.
Welcome. So next we have question from Dr. Suhaidi. Hello Adam, how about Japanese language requirement for employment in Japan? Since most of them require at least GLPT N2.
I see. Thank you for the question, Mr. Suhaidi. I think for my case, I heard like there are some companies that allow N2, but honestly, I have never seen it throughout my job application so far. Usually they require N1. Maybe it's also because on my field, I'm from life science biology, and I usually apply for pharmaceutical companies. And yeah, I think they usually ask for N1, and not just that, they also expect you to be able to speak fluently. Apply for pharmaceutical, like there are several levels of Japanese, like the casual way, the one with the good manners, and the one is honorifics. Like the highest level, the business need to speak business level Japanese. And I think if for that you get a much higher chance compared to other international students. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, thank you. So next question is, how did you cope with the language limitations as it takes time to learn Japanese? And the other question, so from the same person, what are the clubs that you join and are they open for international students? So I think this one, I think is referring to the Sakura Science Club.
Yes. For the language limitation, I would like to first go for the first question. Language limitation, for my thing, I think learning a language is really highly depending on yourself, and you just need to make time for it. For me, like I think I just slightly touch on the topic just now. I memorize 10 scientific terminologies every night before bed. 10. So it's like, for example, there's a word like oxidative phosphorylation. It's a biological process common in human body. So in Japan, it became just like rinsanka. So I think if we're trying to learn a language, you need to make time for it and really make an effort for it. And maybe at some point, I think learning language, you need to be a little bit crazy about the language at first. And for the clubs, yes, Sakura Science Club is, I'm quite active in Sakura Science Club, and I also join activities from Jagam. And there's also another club. There's actually some clubs that are specifically for Malaysian, like MSAJ, the Malaysian Student Association Japan. And there's also our embassy there. So they usually have a lot of activities if you're feeling homesick and want to look for Malaysian students. And for clubs in your own university, I think they also have lots of clubs. Like for mine, I have a course mate that actually took up guitar, joined a guitar club, and he was always playing.
Sorry, sir, I don't ask.
Sorry?
Okay, continue. I think maybe Firdaus have another question. Okay.
So, sir, I am asking about the clubs like Writing Club, Research, Innovation, and Technology. You know about think tank process?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the same way, I'm talking about, not about the recreational clubs, I'm talking about the writing clubs or research and innovation clubs which are open for international students, because I'm not from Malaysia. I study in Malaysia, but I'm not from Malaysia. So could you please throw light on it? And last thing is that if you face kind of an alienation being a foreign student because you don't understand the language, so how do you really get into the social local culture, which is part of the society, to make them feel that you are part of the group and you are in the learning process, and then build up more positive relationships with your supervisor and with your lab mates? Thank you.
All right. So for clubs, there's two more. It's not really an official club. For the ones I joined, so I'm only from in Tokyo, that I can only speak from my own personal experience. I've joined two unofficial clubs. The first one is the Graduate Cafe. So I think Graduate Cafe is like all the professors, the students, Japanese international students, they all gathered weekly at the lobby of the building and just discuss. And I think that's very effective. Like you get to know people and you learn what they're doing and also possible collaboration. I actually have a collaboration mini project with another lab from the Graduate Cafe. So, and initially this Graduate Cafe is only open to Japanese. So I started the Graduate Cafe for international students in my campus. And we usually have like 80%, 60 to 80% studying, joining each time. And the second one is we have this academic writing club. So the academic writing club is everyone just try to write there. We have one person going up on stage to retell what they wrote. So everyone just write. So people will write an extract and then present it each week. Sometimes we do it. Sometimes people do it separately with the Graduate Cafe. Sometimes it is integrated into the Graduate Cafe. And you talk about how to blend in Japanese society. So I think to blend as an international student trying to blend into the local community, first you need to understand their culture and their mentality. So for Japanese, they like to drink. They just like drink. They enjoy drinking. So usually the best way to get to know a Japanese is to go for a drink with them. And they are also, try to understand them and try to fit in, and then I think you will get friends from them. For me, I started joining Japanese friends by inviting my lab mates, which sit next to me, to go out for ramen at first, and then the group starts to get bigger, and he introduced me to some of his other friends from other universities, and I think that's how eventually my social circle grew.
Okay, next question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Firdaus. Okay, next, there is question from Tagrid Ismail. How to deal with supervisor who doesn't agree with your ideas?
I see. So, speaking from personal experience, my supervisor don't always agree with me, and we also have, I think once or twice, we had argument on scientific discussion. But if you're talking, I'm assuming you're talking about scientific ideas. So if you have scientific problems, your supervisor are scientists. Everyone's a scientist. So when you're trying to persuade someone, you need to bring up scientific evidence. And where do you get scientific evidence? By reading, enhance your reading. What I did is when I go for a scientific discussion with my professor, I'm talking about personal discussion, I will print out some papers which I predict I might need it during the discussion and bring it there with him. And then you talk it out, and sometimes the thinkings are different, but you have to try to defend yourself with manner. Don't get pissed off so quickly. Try to keep calm, speaking out like a professional on both sides.
Okay, I would like to entertain questions from YouTube. Hi Adam, I'm Nisa from UPM. As you mentioned before, the Japanese have different culture in voicing our opinions. So what do you do to be heard?
What do I do to be heard? I'm assuming that she's trying to ask how do I convey my message to them. Personally, conveying message is fine, but the problem is how Japanese people are quite shy and they are very vague. They can be quite vague sometimes, and whenever I try to I used to have problems of understanding them rather than I'm trying to convey a message. But if you're saying how to convey a message properly to Japanese, I think it's you need to be slightly more, how should I say, not too straightforward. Sometimes, like in Malaysia, we can be a little bit too straightforward, and that might not go really well in Japan. But however, the good thing about Japanese is when they acknowledge you, they understand you're a foreigner, so they won't be very strict or particular to you. They will just let it go, like no offense taken.
Okay. Another questions from Taya, UPM. How to keep moving in times where lockdown period, much progress cannot be done? What to do after a while, not much progress can be done during pandemic. My research needs me to travel to various places to collect sample.
Okay, thank you for the question, Taya. And so I'm traveling to various Traveling to various places to collect sample is, honestly, I think it's really difficult during lockdown period because it's not only your supervisor, it's on the government management level. So I think there's nothing much you can do, but I think as a scientist, there's always other stuff you could do, like writing review. If you have enough data, write a paper, try to publish it. If you couldn't, just go for a review paper. Writing a review paper is very helpful. It's not only it allows you to have it looks good on your CV. That's the first thing. The second thing is you learn a lot by writing review. You learn how to write papers even better, like a professional. Who knows? One day you became a book author and start writing your own book. So I think writing a review paper is could also be counted as a relatively good progress, in my opinion.
Okay, another questions. Hi Adam, thanks for your sharing. May I know how do you plan your financial if there is setback during your study, like you need to extend your study time and not graduating on time? During pandemic, it is difficult that we need to plan further other than writing the papers plan.
Financials, yes, financials is really tough question here. So but I'm again speaking only from personal experience from my own university. We have the university sometimes talk to them, they would provide you with some financial aid. I didn't really read in detail for Tokyo Tech, but I heard it's feasible for you to last for another year. And yeah, I think financials is a really big problem. So I had also been very worried about it. So when I came to Japan, I also did take some part-time job. So although my max scholarship is very good, very, very good. Usually I have some savings, but I also did some extra work to, at least hope that when this kind of thing happen, I have a backup or something.
Okay, thank you, Adam. There is another question also from Firdaus. Is there any prayer hall in the university for Muslim? Do you aware? Is there any prayer hall at Tokyo Institute of Technology?
Yes, I get this question quite frequently. We have three. So in my campus, speaking from my own campus, we have three. One is in the top of my building, and the other is from Chai's building, Dr. Chai's building, and the other is from another, I think it's called S building. So Japan is especially now they have this Olympic, they are very concerned about the welfare of Muslim people. So I would also, halal food, praying hall, they will all be prepared. Not just in the traveling tourist area, and also in university, they are very concerned, and they are very particular about it. So at least for Tokyo Tech, I would say, don't worry, it's completely okay.
Okay, thank you, Adam, for your sharing. So for those who would like to ask question, you can just write at the chat box. And because we have another speaker, which is Dr. Chai. So thank you, Adam. So now I would like to proceed with our second speaker. So let me introduce all of you to our second speaker, which is Dr. Yao Wan Chai, or I just call Dr. Chai. So actually, Dr. Chai is highly caliber material scientist with a good metallurgical research background. So if you have any research interest related to material scientists, especially in metallurgical, so maybe you can discuss further with Dr. Chai. So basically, Dr. Chai is currently an associate professor at Tokyo Institute of Technology, Japan since 2016. And actually, Dr. Chai have also one of the member of Japan Institute of Metals, Thermoelectric Society of Japan, the Minerals, Metals and Materials Society. So without further delay, Dr. Chai, I think the floor is yours, and I think I myself would like to learn from you.
Hi, I'm kind of having a problem here. Just a minute, sorry. Hey, I cannot do the sharing. Why?
Okay.
It's okay now. Thank you, Professor Asura Hanim, right? And also thank you for Adam. Yeah, fantastic talk. Really helped me out. Answering or saved me a lot of time. Preparing all this. Complete slides. Yeah. Anyway, some time ago, yeah, when Professor Asura Hanim asking me to do this, I said yes, yeah. But I did not know, yeah, this topic is so very out of my comfort zone. If you were asking me to give a talk on my work, I can talk about hours. But for this, yeah, I only can share with you a little bit of what I know. Okay, so right, my name is Chai Yao Wang. Just call me Chai. I'm actually an assistant associate professor in this School of Materials and Chemical Technology in Tokyo Tech. Right. Just to give you a little bit of my background. Yeah, actually, this is my hometown. Yeah, it's a place called Cameron Highlands. Yeah, if you know where it is. I think it's quite famous in Malaysia. And this is my real hometown, Batam Valley. It called, very small village, maybe like 3,000 population. So if you notice, there's one arrow here. Yeah. This is my parents' house, and I took this picture from this website. Apparently, a few years ago there was a flooding around. Following this, you can see a muddy river, which used to be a very nice river. Yeah, when I was young, we play in the river there, but it seems like not anymore. And of course, this is where I'm from. Yeah, very kampong boy. My father has a farm like this, and we used to grow up, helping them, parents. And also, this is my sister's farm, growing flowers and so on. So I'm really from humble background. Right, let's talk about my learning journey. Okay, I was studying in this Tunku Abdul Rahman College. Apparently, they have changed to a university college some time ago, 1998. And then I moved to UK, which is somewhere here, in a place called Liverpool. This is the university, very Victorian building. And if you can see, there's a kind of like a white building behind the tree. That was my office long time ago. So I studied a master, PhD, and a postdoc there in this material science and engineering. This university is very interesting. That you can see the Victorian building, which is really different from what we had in Malaysia. So, but at night it can be very scary. I remember there was one time I was trying to do my TEM pictures, developing until 9 p.m. As you may know, in this kind of building at night after 6, there will be nobody there. So you can imagine how scary it was inside this kind of Victorian building. And when I finished my postdoc there, actually, right after finishing my PhD, and I started to feel like, maybe I need to go somewhere where, somewhere which is good in my field. So I have decided to move all the way to here in a place called Japan, Tsukuba University. There is a group which is doing shape memory alloys, very famous one, Professor Miyazaki. So I joined his group here, studying, we call this, nickel-free titanium-based shape memory alloys. Well, some materials, where they apply in your body or dental wire, that kind of stuff. Okay. Here is buildings inside the court, inside the building, where this is, I think, is taken in the springtime. During the sunny days, we all will come out here talking with friends. Yeah. This university is very international. There are many, international students here. So very big, very nice place. And I stayed there about 3 years, actually 3.5, doing my postdoc. And then later on, I moved to this place called Tokyo Institute of Technology. So currently I'm doing many things, thermoelectric materials, stainless steels, heat resistant materials, and also the previous one, this shape memory alloys. Since 2008, so it's like more than 10 years already. So actually in Japan, initially I thought to stay in Japan for 1 or 2 years, but I did not know the times like this. It's more than 10 years now. But of course, obviously I'm enjoying myself. As Adam said, there are many things. Japan are very impressive to me. Yeah, I have many funny stories or interesting stories. But anyway, let's move on. Well, in case you do not know Tokyo Institute of Technology, here is a map. This is Tokyo, and this Tokyo, quite metropolitan city, including this Kanagawa, where we have Yokohama somewhere nearby, and our university has 3 campuses. We have a small one, Tamachi campus, and we have a main campus called Okayama campus. Yeah, somewhere here, just in Tokyo. Okay. And we have another campus called Susukake-dai. This is slightly away from the main campus, near to this Kanagawa prefecture. So actually, me and Adam are in this campus. You can see there's one high building here. So I'm actually staying on the 14th floor now. And as I said, people will go to the top floor. Best view, you can see the whole Tokyo view, and I think many Muslims are praying there too. Yeah, so they have a fantastic place to do their praying. Now, speaking about our university, we must talk about 3 guys. This is the first one is this Shirakawa, Professor Shirakawa. He is a Nobel Prize laureate in this chemistry in 2000. Yeah. So he was an alumni of this university, and of course he went to do postdoc in USA, and many years later he received this Nobel Prize. And many years later, yeah, we have this Professor Ozumi, who received his Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine. Okay, so he's actually here, just a few buildings away. It's very exciting news for us. We are very proud. And occasionally, you might taking train, sitting next to him. You can like this kind of. Actually, I've said one time, I sat opposite to him. Just wanted to see face to face, how's this Nobel Prize winner, look like in real person. This is something like, to him feels like, maybe not so big deal, but to us, we're really proud of him. And of course, we also have another famous professor, Hosono. Maybe for your institute, some of you have, studying superconductors or thin film, that kind of stuff. Should know him. Yeah, it's Professor Hosono. He is, he received a Japan Prize, which is the equivalent of Japanese Nobel Prize in 2016. And he's famous in this, iron-based superconductors. And he also has a lot of other stuff too. Yeah, I think he had kind of a contract doing this kind of your mobile phone, the screen, that kind of materials with Samsung. So he is also part of them. So big guy. Of course, there are many others, who are very famous, but I do not want to, I cannot talk about everyone. Yeah. Anyway. Now let's talk about, where, try to do some promotion to our university. In terms of, international ranking. Okay. This is from TSE. We are kind of like second in Japan. Okay, from this QS, world ranking this year, right? So we are kind of like 56 in overall, but we are kind of third in Japan. But for engineering and technology, from the name, Tokyo Institute of Technology, so we are kind of like very, strong in this field. We are 34th in the world and second in Japan after this Tohoku University, if you know, it's somewhere near to Fukushima. Now let's talk about our field: chemistry, chemical engineering, and material science. In this year, chemistry is quite good, 28. Chemical engineering is 33, and material science is 53. About something like 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, we have a kind of a target. We want to be top 10. Yeah, so we still have some way to go, but we are going on the right process, right direction. Yeah. Now, speaking, I have heard from Gary Tang just now. He is from Jiaogong, talking about Max Scholarship. Actually, I am from this School of Materials and Chemical Technology. So I'm part of the committee who are actively promoting this, we call this, International Graduate Program, A, right? So means, we will, if someone would like to apply for this program, you have the chance, to get this, Max Scholarship. Yeah. I think the benefit is something like, you have you don't have to pay your tuition fees, and you have your air ticket, round trip, and you have your monthly allowance. I only have this figure in 2018. If you're studying master or doctor, it's something like 150 or 48,000 yen. How much is it now, Adam?
Yeah, I think this is the amount I get.
Really?
Yeah.
No increase after a few years?
well. But
yes,
I think it's sufficient.
The max scholarships, the stipends have been decreased.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
For the 2021 is 144,000 only.
Mm.
So it's a decrease. However, based on ringgit increase.
Yes.
Ringgit is about 6,000 plus because of ringgit weakening. And also, thank you.
Okay. Actually, one of my job is to go around Southeast Asia countries. But we obviously we cannot go now. Yeah. But we have this kind of online introduction to. We just had this Chulalongkorn University this week actually, and and Hanoi Institute of Technology, and so on. Yeah, and also Laos. So we want them, to try to apply for this scholarship in our school. So every year our school has something like about 10 to 12, position. So what we do is something like this. The student will apply for this, and then we evaluate, and we will, of course, there are many students. We will evaluate based on their scores and so on, and we will recommend the government for the application. So this is how the procedure works. All right. Anyway, I will not spend too much time on this. If you're really interested, we can talk a bit more. This is the one you should go for if you're really looking for a scholarship. What you need to do, you need to find supervisor first, and looking for matching interest. Your research interest, and also you need to have your English proficiency test. Okay, there are many types, TOEFL, TOEIC, IELTS, and so on. And the important point is like this. The application deadline for this year is December. So if you apply this year, and then you have the chance, to be admitted next year. So it takes a 1 year gap. So if you want to have more information about this, material science, you are welcome to come to me. Anyway, enough of this. Let's talk about myself, my work. The fascinating thing, when I started this, was like I was reading a review. Like Adam said, you start something new. You start from reading, a lot of reading. So I was reading this, saying that, let's say, a common, transportation, a car, for example, right? So if you pump, let's say, 100% of this, fuel energy, let's say 100%, okay? Now, what you get here is actually, 25% of it will make your car move, okay? And a lot of them, a lot of this, energy is actually wasted as heat. So this is a kind of like very wasteful. I did not know that. Roughly 70% or 75%. So apparently, there are people saying that okay, this kind of heat are actually wasted in terms of along the way from your engine all the way to your exhaust system. Okay, it's waste heat. Very wasteful, right? Now, what happens if you can recycle this heat? It's going to be very nice, is it not? So apparently, there is one kind of device. They call this, thermoelectric generator. allows you to do this. Okay, they recycle this heat into electricity. I don't know, you can use, all kind of ways, to help to move your car, to power your iPhone, and so on. Yeah. So this is the idea, very fantastic idea. And because of that, I dive into this work. So what I do normally, if you take this, generator apart, you will find, it consists of a lot of this, small little thing. We call this, module. Yeah. With this, inside this module, you have we have this, P-type semiconductor and N-type semiconductor. So how this thermoelectric generator works is something like this. If you have a heat source, okay, yeah, and then putting in, kind of parallel with your two semiconductors, and then this carrier, charge carrier, will move from the heat area to the cold area. Because of that, if you connect it with this, electrically, what you'll find, you have this current flow. Very easy, right? For this is, in car, you need to have a high temperature. But actually, the heat source can be from anything, right? So there are people have already developed. For example, if you just Google it, you have this, Seiko, called thermic watch. So the heat source actually is from your body heat, okay? Or there are some people who are proposing to make this, pacemaker for your heart to regulate your heartbeat. So the energy actually is from your body heat. Okay. Now, if you know, in NASA, this Voyager 2 space probe, and also this there another one that the robot landing on this Mars. Yeah, they are actually also using this thermoelectric generator to power this probe. Yeah, probe, and also the robot on Mars. So the materials there is using this silicon and germanium. So my work is trying to develop a better type. A better means higher performance and a more environmental friendly materials. Okay, so for high temperature. Okay. So I give you one example. Yeah, this is my main topic at the moment. Okay, thermoelectric materials. All right. So these are the papers we published just not long ago about we have a lot of microstructure observation. How are we going to modify the microstructure to improve the materials and so on? Yeah. Here is SEM image. This is a TEM image. Yeah, yeah, and you can see you have a lot of this. We call this nano size particles. Yeah, inside this, all these we can modify it, controlling the microstructure, improve the materials. We done this during the lockdown period. So actually, Sato-kun is just graduated. This is one of the beauty of lockdown is you can use it like writing papers like Adam said. Yeah. Another one I'm also very involved is developing this high chromium ferritic stainless steels for solid oxide fuel cells. So another way of energy generator using this chemical reaction. Okay. These are the time, last year, total lockdown, we stay home, and these are the, we managed to write this paper. Yeah. I spent a long time, writing this paper, but because of lockdown, I can speed up my writing. Anyway, these are the two of the many, research I've been involving. Of course, I also teach too. Yeah. So I have 2 classes. One is Introduction to Solid Materials. This is mainly for these students, 3rd year undergraduate students. Yeah. Actually, some of them are from chemical, some of them from transdisciplinary, courses. Yeah. And another one is microscopic characterization in solid materials. If you can see, these are all, SEM, TEM, high resolution TEM. I teach people, yeah, to understand how to interpret this. I designed this course a long time ago because I have noticed, yeah, many years, students really have problem of interpreting this, analyzing this microstructure, which is very important in material science. They have no idea or they are wrong. And because of that, I decided to design this course to help them, yeah, at least, even if they are not using this equipments or microscopy, but at least they can understand. Anyway, let's don't talk about too much myself. Yeah, let's talk about how you cope. Yeah, Adam has been talking too much. Fantastic. How do you cope this? Well, I have I have to Google some. Want to find out what are the impacts psychologically in other countries. And I just found this paper. I think his group is from Jordan. Okay, so for students during the lockdown, at least, yeah, they really have an anxiety problem, big percentage, and they have a short temper, sleeping problem. Yeah, these are the 4 things really happen to them, and of course you have focusing problem. These are for students, but I have to tell you, yeah, for adult or for people like me, I also have the same problem, but the source, the reason may be slightly different, right? Anxiety, yes. Okay, sleeping problem, yes. Short temper, yes. Yeah. So all this kind of thing, we do have this. Okay, not far from students. Only the reason are different. Yeah. Well, let's talk about a little bit more, on ourselves and teachers. And this is a paper, from Germany. They have done in their place. But I would say, it not much different from us. Okay, we have let's say barriers for students here. Okay, because of the lockdown, many of the lectures are done online. Okay, now previously, let's say for example my course, I give them exam, right? So I can grade them, evaluate their understanding, right? But during the lockdown online, we can't give them exam. So what do? You give them a lot of assignments, right? So I'm so sorry, I have to scrap my exam, but I give them a lot of assignments to evaluate the understanding. I don't like it, but there's no choice. So this is a problem for them. Okay. Computer hardware. All these things, actually are really, giving you teachers, for example, stress out. Okay. Lack of computer hardware. This is a huge problem for me, especially last year. If you remember, the beginning of March, April, sometimes around there, we are beginning to introduce, online. Our university wanted to have online lectures, so what do? So I went to this electronic store in Japan. We have usually they have so many this kind of headset and so on. Okay, I went there. we have a big department store. Yeah, everything, you know, full of this kind of electronic gadgets. If you see, you know, from this year to become like, you know, zero, I couldn't find anything helping me to do, you know, this kind of a webinar or, you know, video conferencing. You know, it's very, very stressful. Okay. Problem of internet connectivity, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And low motivation of students. We worry about them, you know, motivation is really not easy. This is why, you know, sometimes, you know, studying in groups are really important. Really, you can help each other, motivating each other. Yeah, but if you are staying home, you know, doing online by yourself, yeah, the motivation is, I cannot see them, you know, but I think, at least for me, you know, it's not very motivated, right? Now the rest are, you know, you still have some problem there, you know, but I would say, you know, all these highlighted things, yeah, at least for my experience, I had this problem. Okay, maybe it means, you know, this is not only you know, unique in Germany here, but also, you know, in other countries, maybe in Malaysia too. I don't know. Yeah. Now, let's talk about, you know, switching online and my personal experience. I have to tell you, you know, my two lectures here. This one, third year undergraduate, about 50% are Japanese students, another 50 are, you know, international students. And the other class, yeah, it depends, you know, this year, you know, is 80% Japanese. Yeah. So one thing, you know, I have to be careful is I tend to speak, my lectures, yeah, is conducted in English, right? So I tend to speak slowly, very slowly, so they can understand. Yeah. Of course, sometimes, you know, you carry it away, you speak fast, you know, without knowing. If I can see their face, that's fantastic. You know, I can tell, you know, whether they are following or not. But online, you know, I cannot see their face. There's a problem. Yeah, yeah. So what about, you know, switching online? Yeah, what is it? The good things, yeah, I notice, you know, students, yeah, they really ask you a lot of questions. Okay, you know, rather than in the class, you know, they don't ask too much question. You know, like, you know, Adam said, Japanese students are kind of shy. Okay, yes, they do not ask you much questions. You know, they don't ask. But, you know, switching online, yeah, they ask you a lot of questions. Yeah, okay. But there's a problem, yeah, for me. Maybe I'm kind of like, you know, old type. They message, chatting you. They message you, you know, lack of conversation. Yeah, here is a real, you know, message, you know, asking me question or answering my question. They message me. That was kind of like, I have to look, you know, I really, you know, one of the objective of having this, you know, English lecture in English is, you know, they can practice, you know, conversation. Yeah. If they are not practicing conversation in English, means they are not learning, you know, in speaking. So I don't know, for some reason they like to, you know, message me about answering my questions or, you know, or asking questions. Okay. Now, for this, yeah, it's not only Japanese, yeah, but also, you know, you can see, you know, there are some, you know, students from China, you know, they also ask doing the same too. It seems like young people, they like messaging, you know, answering question or asking question. So I don't think it's for this, you know, I don't think it's good. You need to have practice interaction, human interaction. There's none. Yeah. So for that, you know, I don't like it. But for the yeah, you know, they ask question. Okay. Of course, you know, for my personal experience, switching to online is much helpful for me. I don't have to travel, you know, much, because as you have seen before, you know, we have two big main campuses. Each year I have to travel quite many times for lecture. It takes about 45 minutes by train. So if I have this online, it takes just a few minutes, just come to office here, right? And save money and time, right? Yeah, it's good. Switching online, as I mentioned, I cannot. To be honest to you, because of my because of my lectures, I don't even like to give them exam either. I think, for my course, using exam, to evaluate their understanding is not enough. But I have to admit, this is one of the only way, I can use it. So switching online, I couldn't give them, exam. So I give them a lot of assignments. One way, is quite good. Well, depends on how you design the assignment, but I would say, I find it, at least for my case, it's much better to evaluate the understanding, right? We have a huge problem here, is this one. Engineering, engineering means, you really have to use your hand to do something. If you can't do it, it's difficult to be an engineer. Experiment, we have a problem here. If you have a really total lockdown, doing experiments, is has problem there, right? Now, again, this is from Jordan, the same group. Apparently, this will not be a big different. This is for students here. Okay, how they cope it. I find it interesting. Big chunk of them. This is done online. Okay. During the pandemic lockdown, I think they spend a long time. Many of them spend time on studying. Okay. Many of them do some praying. I'm surprised they also did a lot of sleeping too. Yeah. Others are like many things, games, movies, and so on. Yeah. But for myself, during the lockdown, especially last year and until now, I spend most of my time studying and working. Okay, not so much exercising, but some. A lot of time, cooking, helping my wife cleaning up, cooking, and we have 2 young kids, playing with them. So you can see, actually, online studying, is not much different, at least, compared, in here. So at least, I spend a lot more time, helping out my wife, cooking and cleaning up. So she's very happy, and she's happy. Everybody is happy. So we are happy. Anyway, I give you one of, at least my experience is coping. Obviously, you can read papers, a lot of papers, and so on. Working is a kind of a problem. You can't do experiments. Like Adam said, suggesting writing papers. Yes, of course, for us, we write papers. But I also, prefer, combine, studying and working together. So during that time, I spent a lot of time, serving, attending online lectures, reading books and papers and so on. Surprisingly, from last year, I found out, you have so many things, on YouTube, Coursera and MIT, that kind of, online. You really can learn so many things on there. I give you a few examples here, right? Now, this is a paper, I mentioned, Satokun, okay? In our work, we use, X-ray diffraction, right? So you have many peaks, in X-ray diffraction. This is something to do with crystallography. These are 2 samples, and then virtually it doesn't show much different. Okay, and but if we zoom in, we find actually the peaks are the shade or the width are slightly different, and we did this kind of like peak fitting, that kind of software. I did not know how to do it, but I have seen people doing it, published on their papers. And just by chance, I came across this nano work in YouTube. They're actually teaching you how to do it. Look, we have a paper here. So this is how we learn, studying, never stop learning. Is it not? Right? And also spend a lot of time in my work, trying to understand, a lot of calculations, of course, thermal conductivity and the defects, these are the pictures. This is also online, by this Professor Lee in Yonsei University, I think in Korea. Yeah, he's giving you a very kind of like introduction level stuff like that. Yeah, very interesting. And I also, a big fan of these 2 guys. One is Professor Jinsen. He was giving, lectures online, talking about TEM and cryo-TEM. I myself, is teaching people how to understand TEM. TEM means transmission electron microscopy, right? So I also wanted to know how other people are teaching. So maybe I can improve myself, right? And another one, especially for students, I don't know, undergraduate students, I would, recommend you, to go find this guy, exact lectures. Okay, he's giving you all kind of lectures on all sort of things, especially biology, modern physics, if you want to know quantum mechanics and so on. Yeah. Now, of course, one big thing is about motivation. One big thing is about motivation. This is how I was doing this. Some time ago, in 2003, a Nobel Prize winner, Richard Smalley, he received his Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1996. Okay, he gave a talk in 2003. He said, in the next 50 years, from 2003, there will be 10 big problems, facing the humanity. Here are the top 10 big problems. The first one is energy, water, food, environment, poverty, terrorism and war, disease, education, democracy, and population. These are the main top 10 problems facing by this humanity. Okay. Now, what is my motivation? My motivation is, everything I study, everything I do research, I study is, I know is going to do, to help the energy problem. I know it's going to help, the environment. I know it's going to help, education people. So these are, something like kind of like mission. That's why, this is very, very important. I think everyone should find some meaning, to in their, at least, in their study. Yeah. So this is the end of my talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chai, for your presentation. So we have a few questions in chat box. So the first one is from Ibrahim. Thank you very much, Dr. Chai, for the wonderful presentation. My question is that what is the actual benefit of the Japanese government towards offering math scholarship to the international students?
What is the actual benefits?
What is the actual benefit of the Japanese government towards offering the math scholarship to the international students?
Oh, this question is actually there are manifold. I might be wrong. Okay, But I think this is only my personal opinion. Is the Japanese population is shrinking. All right, they need a new workforce to join their big companies. They need people. So one of the reasons is through welcoming these top talent, young people from other countries. This is one of the reasons they give out a lot of these scholarships to international students. Yeah.
Okay. Next question from my Sarah. Dr.
Thank you.
Chai,
Thank you.
do you have any international students as your postgraduate students? Do you feel any differences in terms of attitudes between the international students and the Japanese student?
Yes, actually, I was talking to someone before. Yes, there are certain ways, we call this, culture, of Japanese students doing things. And if you are not, in Japan studying junior high school, primary school, junior high school, undergraduate, you cannot understand that. It's difficult. I give you one. I think can be an example. Okay, when I was coming to Tokyo, Japan, in the beginning, more than 10 years ago, in Tsukuba University. So there are two, Japanese students. If you are like, say like Master 1 students, or Master 1 or PhD student, you are considered senior, right? So one important duty, and we do not have to tell you the duty, but you should know is, if you are Japanese, is you need to teach or help your junior. Nobody need to tell you, you have to know. Yeah. For international students, maybe they do not know this, so sometimes they don't help. Sometimes, I'm not saying all, but occasionally you find they just they don't help. So if I see this, I will tell them, because this is also a learning curve. If you are teaching people, you are learning too. So I find this this one is very different. Another one is I think just now someone was asking, if you argue with if you don't agree with your supervisor, you argue. Very, kind of not very, quite common, Japanese students do not argue with their supervisor. They, even though they don't agree, these are my observation, okay? Maybe there are some special, case. In general, this is very general, okay? They tend not agree with the supervisor. They tend to agree with the supervisor, okay? But for foreign students, international students, we call this, it happened a few times, quite many times, okay? So for that, the professor sometimes, they need to be a bit more, kind, understand, because different culture involved. Yes. I have one very fantastic story to tell you. It was a guy from Philippines, pure, very smart guy. He was in his first year PhD, and the professor asked him, "What do you want to do in your PhD?" He said, he wanted to develop this alloy, this shared memory alloys for bio application. The professor said no. They don't think it's a good idea. And then he said, okay. And then he went back, and did, all the make the alloys, make the analysis, show the data, and come back to the professor and show, look, this is working. And they went on, did a lot of work, get a lot of funding, and patent the alloy. This is the only case I've seen. a few more too, yeah. But this is a very typical case. Like Adam said, let's talk about, professionally. Yeah. If you don't agree with your supervisor, fine. What is your argument? What is the reason? Take away, I don't like you, you don't like me, that kind of stuff. Nothing about that, professionally, argue your point. Yeah. I find, for many years in here, I find, students do not have a very, even though the idea is good, but when they're trying to argue it, they kind of not there, So professor cannot see the point, say, no, there's this. This is one point. Another point is, you think this is good, but you have no very support. Like what I mentioned to you, like Pio, he has no support, experimentally. He did it by himself, spent a long time. And if he succeed, so it's good. If not, nobody will know. He did it. Yeah. This is what my observation.
Okay. Next question from Huzairi. Since you have been doing research in 2 different countries, which is UK and Japan, what is the difference in terms of research or work culture between these 2 countries?
Very, very different. This is again my personal experience in UK, Liverpool. We have a professor here and students. There will be no senpai and go higher, no senior junior thing. So everything is like, to professor. Okay, yeah. And I think, in UK, all the instruments, equipments, many of them are shared by the department or the faculty. So they have these technician or specialists to take care of this equipment if it's expensive. Yeah. So the students, you focus on your study. Yeah. You can operate the machine fine. Yeah. If the machine breaks down, don't worry about it. We have someone to take care of it. Yeah. This is what I learned, at least from University of Liverpool, Department of Material Science and Engineering. Then I went to Tsukuba. One time, during our, group meeting, okay, I was new there. So one student, he was saying, by the way, we have our this, X-ray machine, X-ray machine, yeah, is broken. And professor asked him, why? What is the reason? What is broken? And he couldn't answer this. And the professor was very, very angry. Because here, many of the machines are not shared. You have your own equipment with your labs. Your lab have all kind of equipment. So they want you to understand. You cannot just go to your professor and say, it's broken, and he asks you what is the reason, it's broken. If you cannot tell the answer, this is not good. You need to investigate. What is a problem? Possible problem? Call the engineer. Call the engineer in the company trying to solve it. Yeah. Then, if you cannot, the engineer has to come here. Then you talk to your supervisor. This is very much, independence. Really train you, to be an engineer, hands-on. This is in university. In the company too. I have a student here. He is now in Tokyo Gas. Yeah, he finished his master. He when he entered the company, he has to spend, I don't know, 1.5 months or 2 months, working in the gas station pumping gas with high school student. He was complaining. They have to make sure you really get your hand dirty to train you. So I see this kind of very different approach. Which one is better? Well, it depends on what research you're doing. if you are working on a fundamental research, a lot of calculations, if you're a new guy, rookie, you want to have a lot of time, with your supervisor, I would say, the one in UK, is very suitable for you. They give you a lot of time. You can meet them, anytime you like. But if you want to have a lot of application, research, a lot of hands-on experiments, fixing this and that, then the approach in Japan quite good. So two different. Well.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chai. Next question is from Gao Jing. Doctor, if I want to quote your findings on online teaching, do you publish this finding?
Teaching?
I think maybe Gao Jing referring to the quote your findings on online teaching. Maybe the one that you use for the online teaching, do you publish this finding? Or Gao Jing, if maybe you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Is it this slide?
I'm not sure. This?
Hello, doctor.
Yes.
This is Gao Jing. This one, no, not this one. The previous one, the pros and the cons for. Here, this one. Yes.
You can, no problem. There is no copyright.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Gao Jing. So we have another questions from. So next question from Khadija. Okay, thank you, Dr. Chai. Have you explored other educational tools such as Slack and etc.? Do you think you will continue using online teaching tools even after the pandemic?
Well, look, you see, the cons there, of course, there are many, look, I put on a con here, right? Yeah, this is about myself, it's rather selfish, is it not? Now, a part of learning as students is about interaction, you kind of, there are something, learning in group is more effective than, studying alone. So really, if when this pandemic is past, I would think, for the benefit of students, in class is better. And of course, depends on what field you are in. Experiment. What happened to experiments, right? Yeah. Without that, it's not good. Online, only to a certain extent, but not everything.
Okay. So, thank you, Dr. Chai. Next question. Prof, can you get back to previous slide, please? I'm taking note here about the 10 things. Yeah, Aziza is asking about the slide where you're sharing about the 10 things.
Yeah. The last one. Okay, not previous,
Yeah.
This one?
Yes, I think that, is it Noraziza? Is it this one? Or maybe you can unmute yourself and ask Dr. Chai directly.
Yes. Not messaging. We need to have conversation.
Okay. Maybe I can proceed to the next question first. Okay, could you please tell us, Dr. Chai, some techniques to keep motivated and keep working on our research? It is hard to be motivated when you are alone and there is lockdown.
Yes, it's not easy. Very much about individual. Like some people have depression or depressed, not depression, depressed. Lack of focus and so on. I have the same too. As a student. That's why this slide is kind of like very motivated. I think it's very nice. think about it, of course, this is about big thing, energy, water, food, and so on. Okay. If you want to have, go small thing, what about your family, right? What about, your parents or your sibling? Yeah. And what about yourself? All right. Small thing. Yeah. You need to have a, kind of like sense of mission to keep you motivating. I mean, sense of mission that whatever you do, yeah, in terms of research, maybe it's not like one magic thing, but it's progressing into a right direction. Whatever you do, yeah. This is my experience. My advice is, you need to have, kind of like meaning of mission. Yeah.
It's like more on asking your why question to, if you're doing research, what is the why question that you need to answer? Like, I think
why?
Yeah, because that one will keep you motivated. Like,
yes, yeah, we ask why all the time. Yeah, let me give you one example. Yes, why, is how do you ask why? Is it what you mean? How do you ask why, or why do you ask why?
Yeah.
And again, like Adam said, you need to have some, some knowledge, right? In terms of research, right? Through a lot of readings or a lot of, studying. Okay. I give you one example. This one. This is my proudest moment. I proposed this nano size, particles, to improve the performance 10 years ago. 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, some time ago. Okay. At that time, my boss, he didn't agree with me. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, he did not agree with me. If you're a junior guy, boss is important to support you. He did not. There's a problem here. At that time, I did not have enough evidence, to support myself. So I spent a year and a half, to find together evidence. Yeah, later on, I discovered, it really, improved the performance. Yes. So that time, I asked, why he did not approve. Yeah. So why not? Yeah. It's a difficult question. I think he thinks, without this, I understand why, he said this one will improve the career concentrations, so on and so forth. I agree with him. I said, size is important and so on. So this is kind of like professionally argument you need to give him, or with your supervisor or your colleague. That kind of, not like, oh, he didn't like it because he didn't like me. Not like that. Okay. Give your argument. Yeah, he's happy now. Yeah.
Okay. Next question, Dr. Chai. How do we prepare or start a postdoc journey? A question from Kausar.
One more time. Sorry.
How do we prepare or start a postdoc journey?
Look around. Google it. When I finished, 3 years of postdoc here, okay, I wanted to find, actually I have I wanted to go to Germany, and after Germany, I wanted to go to USA. So I just look around, there's no opening position, but I look at the professor, and the one, related to your research, matching, I just email him, hey, do you have any money or position, I'd like to join you. And he said, yes. please come. I did not go because someone else, was offering me, another position just here. Because of that, my wife wasn't very happy. How? Yeah. If you want to know more, if you want to experience, different people, really different people have different idea of research, approach of research. Just look around. There are many. If you look carefully, there are many labs in the world looking for postdoc. Really. Do you know why?
Okay, so next question from Kamalul Adham. How to handle data collection and supervisor expectation during pandemic?
How to handle data collection?
Yeah, how to handle data collection and supervisor expectation during pandemic?
What? I do not understand. I mean, like physically handling, or you mean doing experiments?
Yeah, I think so. Or Kamalul, if you can unmute yourself and then you can ask Dr. Chai, what do you mean by how to handle data collection? Because I think different research is different data collection. Or maybe this is more about experimental.
Well, I understood from you. You have a lockdown in Malaysia, so you cannot do experiment. So how do you handle your data? Just leave it in the PC in the lab. I'm not sure. Is that what you mean? Extremely careful, is it not? I don't know. I don't understand. How do you talk to your supervisor with your data? Okay. I have one piece of 5 cents of my opinion. When you want to talk to your supervisor or your superior or whatever, do not bring your raw data with him. Talking with him. I think this is not good. Raw data, without any analysis or minor analysis, and talk to your supervisor. That's not good. You need to kind of like summarize. If you have a lot of data, summarize it. Speak with your supervisor. You can always bring your raw data with you if he wants to look into it more. But do not just bring raw data and talk with your supervisor. That's not fair, is it not? Yes.
Okay. Next question from Firdaus. Thanks for the information, Doctor. I would like to ask that if we have to do some analysis on material, will you help us in this regard?
What analysis?
Yeah, Firdaus. If you
Prof, like some of the techniques like TEM, which you are expert. I mean, if I send the sample to you, will you help us? And I put you as a co-author.
Oh, you mean observation? TEM observation?
Yes, Prof. Because sometimes the facility is not working in the university because of the lockdown.
It depends, if it's not too much thing to do, I can help. Of course, I also have my own work. If it's a lot of things, it would take some time. I can help, but it would take a long time. If you are students, this is not good for you. Or advising, how to analyze the pictures, and we can do it, easily online, right? But to do hands-on, I only have a few months, each year, which I'm not having lectures, so I always plan ahead for my time. So yeah, I can help, but not a lot.
Second thing, in one of the slides, I saw that you discussed about the finer details of the XRD, where you could analyze the intricacies of the curve. So what actually software do you use for that, or you just magnify?
I was using Origin. Do you know?
Yeah, Origin, I know, sir.
Yes, yeah. In the Origin, you can do this, calcium peak fitting. Just go to this, in YouTube. Yeah, he will teach you everything. Go.
What is? I can't see it there in the slide. Can you please YouTube?
Here, Nano World.
Oh, Nano World.
Yeah, just type it now, and then you can find him. He has a range of video helping you out. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, he did not do exactly the same as XRD diffraction, but the idea. You just need to know the idea, how to separate the peaks, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you very much.
Okay, next question, also from Kamalul. How to maintain our momentum and focus for writing thesis and article and working at the same time?
Very difficult. My advice to you, focus. If you can't do it, just like what I did in my last year of PhD, I was working, my scholarship was running out. I have to work with another professor, working on this kind of consultant job, working. I found it much more interesting than my thesis writing. That is a problem. Now, I don't know, whether you have a deadline or not. Some countries, they said, 5 years, maybe you can extend 1 more year. And then if you don't, you have to pay the tuition fees and so on and so forth. Okay. That is the main motivation. You have to do it, or you don't get your degree. Right? Maybe some university allows you to do that, and you can extend some other time. But what's the point? You drag it for so long, you suffer. You suffer. Come on, something in your shoulder, right? So there is a main drive. Finish it as quick as possible, and get that. Get out from them. Find something. Else.
Okay, next question. Why postdoc position is demanding, Dr. Chai?
Well, this is an education thing, twofold. One is for the research itself. One is for the student itself. We, of course, we want you to understand, you are doing right. This is at least this is how we try to teach. If you are not doing the right way, or you are cutting corners, shortcutting, of course we demand you, don't do this, do it properly. This is a serious, very high responsibilities. We demand you to be a good, excellent student, excellent, everything. So of course it's very demanding. One thing. The second thing is of course, if your research is something to do with life science, like Adam, you cannot simply, publish your data, without checking, because somehow maybe people will use your data and do something. This is something like life. It's not good. We have to demand. You have follow the procedure properly. Follow the moral code properly, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think there is no more questions from Zoom, but I have one question from YouTube for you, Dr. Chai. Students' lack of managing themselves, which is important or not? From Wong Po Sim.
Lack of managing themselves?
Yes, it's like lack in terms of self-management. So students' lack of managing themselves, which is important or not?
It's very important, yeah. Look, everybody knows, even high school students know, during the lockdown period, you have to do something good, read a lot of papers or books, studying and so on. Okay, but how do you do it? How do you keep yourself, motivated or doing this? Yeah, is keeping a routine. Like Adam, he's doing a routine every day. If you have to have a kind of routine, this time, you should throw away your iPhone within this time, or just to do something. This is kind, for management yourself, time management, task management, right? Without that, yeah, come on, it's difficult. It's difficult for you. You need to. Yeah.
Okay, I think there is no more questions. So thank you so much to Dr. Chai and Adam for sharing with us today. And I also would like to thank all the participants who joining us today, either at Zoom, YouTube, or Facebook. So thank you so much for your support and by attending the session, and you are still with us until until 11:50. So for all participants, I just would like to remind all of you to please fill in the feedback form. Okay, the link is given in the chat box. Okay, so if there is no more questions to our
I want to ask you.
Okay.
Last time, if you remember, you told me you will share the details of.
Yeah, that one I will send it to you because I just received from Dr. Shima.
Okay. Prof, there is one thing when, as you mentioned, the problem when you, for me, not for you, when I sit in front of the screen, I think as if I'm talking to somebody who's like without any life. So there has been a change even for my daughter in this pandemic. They're sitting in front of there is too much screen time, and it has affected the health of the children as well as the adults because we are not used to this mode of learning. And I feel that particularly for subjects like medical sciences, which is very important, and engineering, which have more hands to do learning, this generation or this era, the group of students or the batch of the students will be having always some deficit there because they had to spend a lot of time on the technology. That's multimedia technology rather than sitting in the lab and working on the instruments or interacting with the people. So do you feel that they need to upgrade themselves in the future, or what is your answer to this question?
Yeah, Dr. Chai, do you have any opinion on that?
I'm you mean interaction is more important?
I think yes, because when you sit with the professor and you talk to him and you discuss the problems on the table, or you have a round table meeting, and then something fruitful comes up.
As I mentioned, you see, maybe you should, do mix together, right? Discussion. Let's say, I don't know if you're a student or not. You discuss with your supervisor. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. Somehow, face-to-face, discussion is much easier for students to understand. For me, I have no problem, but for him, or them, I'm not sure whether you notice or not, there is some kind of little, scribbling on the paper and so on, it's much helpful for them, they just some kind of, they need a little click, then they understand. This is for discussion. For meeting, for example, you present your your progress, or I know this kind of online maybe is okay. I would suggest mix together. Of course you need to find your own balance. Mix together, I think it's better. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Dr. Chai, sorry, please. I have one question to Dr. Chai. For the mixed scholarship, is it only open to Malaysians?
No, this is for Southeast Asia.
Oh, I am from Africa. I thought it's also open to Africans.
Now, don't worry. Okay, we have a list. Okay, they call this a special focus region. Okay, this is yeah, Africa. There's no problem. There's another region too. Don't think about too much. Just apply if if you're interested.
Yeah, I am from Africa.
Yeah, just apply. Don't worry. Yes.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, so before we end our session today, I would like to ask everyone so that we can have a photo session. Is it okay? So I think at Zoom I have like 3 page. So maybe I give some times to all participants to open the camera and get ready, smile. Okay. So
well, hello Malaysia. It's raining outside.
How's Japan?
It's raining outside. Yes. So,
do you actually need to wear mask when you go out in Japan nowadays?
Yeah, of course. The whole society is really making you like, if you do not wear mask, you are like criminal. The feeling, it's not criminalized, but the feeling is, please wear mask. I have one time I have forgotten my mask. I went to a train station. I take trains, very often, and then I have to run back my home and get the mask. That kind of feeling. I was running out of time. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how it's in Malaysia, but that kind of stuff.
I think we need to have mask machines, vending machines for the mask. You insert the coin, you get the mask everywhere.
Can I add on for the Max Membership Scholarships, especially for international students? You can apply, as what Dr. Chai said, directly to the university. So there's another quota for the university to give these Max scholarships beside the government. So Dr. Chai was correct. Please apply whether you're from Africa, Latin America, Middle East, anywhere. There's a university recommendation Max scholarship. So please listen to the good advice from Dr. Chai and please apply. Thank you.
Is it intern or this is new?
Thank you so much, Gary. So now I will take a picture for a first page. Okay, smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the second page, smile. Okay, the third page. Okay, so thank you so much. So again, thank you, Dr. Chai and Adam, for sharing and then entertain a lot of questions from our participants today. And of course, thank you for your great presentation. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. So this concludes our webinar. So I would like to thank again all participants for attending this webinar. We hope that you have learned and enjoyed the presentation by Dr. Chai and Adam. So with that, I would like to thank again and stay safe, have a good rest, and all the best. And never think that pandemic will lock you down. Actually, you need to unlock your own potential during this pandemic or during this lockdown. Okay? So with that, thank you and Assalamualaikum. Thank you so much, Dr. Chai.
Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Prof. Thank you, Prof, for your time.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Adam, also.
Mr. Adam.